Thanks, everybody. Hi, family. I'm Tony, recovered food addict. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. Write it in my phone. Call my handsome sponsor at 9:40 p.m. every night. Don't eat no matter what, and eat no matter what. Meaning, since I came to gray sheet, I'm never really hungry, and I have to write down when I'm going to eat because what do I do to my computer? Because I never. It's bizarre. And like I said, I'm never hungry. I came into the program. I don't know if you guys have never seen me before. I was 400 plus pounds. Had a smile on my face. I exercised, but I was a big boy. You know, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that, I've been sober almost 37 years. I didn't know that when I picked up a little sugar, carbs, and grains, it set off the phenomenon of craving, and I craved more. I didn't know that. I knew that with alcohol, but I didn't know that it was the same with food. And I'm 63 years young. I know I don't look a day over 50. No, I don't. I get that a lot. Nobody really realizes, how old I am. But, I guess having good genes and stopping the craziness of the food. February 11th, 2018 is my abstinence date. Prior to that, I remember celebrating my 30th AA anniversary. I was a big boy. 400 pounds is no joke. I don't wish that on anybody. 400 pounds is diabetes, sleep apnea, neuropathy in my hands and my feet, sit in chairs and break them, have to look for seats with no arms. Remember, I went to an international AA conference in Toronto, and I stayed at the Four Seasons for a couple of nights. And I went down to the cafeteria. Actually, it's called a dining room in the Four Seasons, but and then they didn't have any chairs without arms. And I was a big boy, and they're like, "Can we help you?" I said, "No, apparently you can't." So I went to my room and I wrote a note. Dear Four Seasons, apparently you don't cater to the fat man. And they sent me a voucher for like 4 nights anywhere in the world, but I didn't use it because I don't really travel. But you know, being a morbidly obese person, I never fit in, I never felt a part of. Judged a lot. Being on A anniversaries and eat what they have. Like people come up to me like, "Why do you eat that?" I'm like, "Because it tastes good." It's like it doesn't look like it likes you. I was like, "Oh my gosh, who says that?" You know, I've had on more than one occasion, pretty girl come up to me, "Oh, if you lost weight, you'd be cute. If you lost weight, I'd be with you. If you lost weight," all the mean things that people say to, a sick and suffering addicts in and out of the rooms. That's really not nice. I went to OA for many, many years, and they had a thing, welcome home. I used to read it at every meeting. "Oh, if you could just lose a little weight, if you could just do this, if you could just change everything in your life, you'd be a more happier person." But I could never stay stopped. I gained and lost hundreds of pounds, over the course of my life. I could never stay stopped. I mean, I used to bet people, at different jobs and who could lose weight the fastest. I would sit in a sauna, like sitting there till I was a friggin' prune, probably almost dehydrated. "Oh, I lost 2 pounds. Oh, that's great." Never a healthy way. And I met my sponsor like probably 25 or almost 30 years ago at an AA retreat. And he says he was fat like me. I was like, "I'm done being fat. You want this sweatshirt?" He goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll take it. It's free. It's for me. I have my own business." Hence, I sometimes call myself Tony from ABC Painting. But you know, I gave him that sweatshirt. Then I didn't see the guy again for like 10 years. And then I saw him and he was a normal sized dude. I go, "Hey, how's it going? You new?" He goes, "No, I'm so and so." I said, "Yeah, sure you are. Would you get surgery, Cheetah?" He goes, "No, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet." Da, da, da. And he gave me the pitch. And I was like, "Good for you. I go to OA." And he's like, "Okay." But he planted that mustard seed of hope. A mustard seed's about that big. I don't know if you can see that. So it's tiny. The hope for me is hold on, pain ends, or hearing other people's experiences and happy our program exists. I didn't know what I didn't know. But he planted that seed. He lived in Queens. I lived on the island. So we never really saw each other at meetings. It's only like 40 miles apart, but it is what it is. So I kept on my way, eating whatever, whatever, whatever. So 10 Actually, February 26, 2014, almost 11 years ago, I have a massive pulmonary embolism in my driveway. I was in my truck going to meet my friends, going to meet my workers. I pissed my pants. I was like, interesting. Now I got to go change. And just as I thought that, I was like, oh God. And I felt myself pass out. Thank God I fell out of the truck because I had the doctors tell me after the fact. He said, if you'd have passed out in your truck, you would have died in your truck because nobody would have found you. I was like, interesting. So my tenant found me. She's like, you all right? I said, where am I? She goes, you're in the driveway. I said, I'm probably not all right. She goes, you want me to call somebody? I'm like, 911 would be nice. I was out of it, but I knew 911 was the answer. And the cops came. They go, hey, buddy, can you stand up for us? I was like, F you, get away from me. It was freezing cold out, just snowed a little bit. And 400 pounds is no joke. Trying to pick up a dead weight, 400-pound person is probably not the easiest thing in the world. They stood me right up. I looked around, had no idea where I was. I saw my neighbor. I said, she looks familiar. And I was out of it. Yeah, my whole right side of my lungs was clogged with blood clots, and I had a big clot behind my left knee. And and then I got in an ambulance, and they put oxygen in me. I was like, oh, that's all I needed was oxygen. I had no idea the severity of what was going on with me, which it is what it is. You don't know what you don't know. And I'm a wise guy to the core. And, I'm like, put the sirens on. They're like, you're not that bad. I'm like, not that bad. The EMTs didn't think I was that bad. They just thought, I don't know what they thought. And I took pictures in the ambulance. I took pictures. It was insane. And I get to the emergency room, they're like, what happened? I said, I was shoveling my driveway. I pissed my pants and I passed out. They're like, did it snow? I go, we had flurries. They're like, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know. I'm a painter. Figure it out. You went to school. I'm such a sarcastic SOB, but it is what it is. I fear, face everything and recover or F everything and run. I didn't really had no idea what was going on. I just knew that for like 2 weeks I thought I had bronchitis. I just couldn't breathe. And which sounds absurd, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and then I remember, right before I woke up, it was cloudy out and it was snowed and I saw the most beautiful blue sky, big puffy clouds. I was like, oh, I could breathe. I went to the pearly gates and it was locked and I woke up. Hence, I went to the pearly gates and it was open. Wow, it gets me every time I share that. If it was open, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I would have died. And so when I was in the hospital, I remember the cardiologist rushing me to the ICU. He's like bouncing me off the walls. I'm like, are you drunk? He goes, you're in really bad shape. You're probably gonna die. And I was like, rouse the shape. He didn't laugh. And and I remember when I got to the ICU, all the nurses were working on me like a car in a pit crew. And he also was saying the same thing, like, you have any idea how lucky you are to be alive? I said, no, but I guess that must be the census here because this has never happened to me before. And I guess I'm not going home tonight. I've never been in the hospital for more than a couple stitches or whatnot. And then when I got to the ICU, I was like, it was just like surreal. And my BP was like 195 over 90. And my heart rate was like, I don't even remember, like 180 or some crazy numbers. And I, I had no pain, so I didn't really feel like there was anything wrong. I just couldn't breathe, which sounds absurd when I keep saying that. But, you know, I was 400 pounds. It was hard to tie my shoes. It was hard to walk up the stairs. It was hard to get in the car. It was hard to get out of the car. It just was not a fun life. And I was in therapy and I was like told the therapist, I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to be fat. She goes, if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. I said, really? She's like, no, not really. But, obviously if you're resistant to change, I was like, So, I was in the hospital. I was in the ICU for 2 days and a cardiac unit for 2 weeks. And, they brought nutritionists in and I did a shit ton of tests and I gave so much blood. I can't even believe I had any blood left in me. Now I'm on blood thinners for life, twice a day. I weigh and measure food 3 times a day. I came out of the hospital and I was scared. I didn't really remember about Gray Sheet yet. So I went back to OA, and I lost like 80 pounds in a year. And then I painted an Italian restaurant. I went to their soft opening. I started eating what they served. And the 80 pounds I found with interest and kept that on for another few years. And then I came into Gray Sheet for the first time January 2017. And I bought this book. I bought the Gray Sheet book that is written about us for us. Gray Sheet 12 and 12. I bought this book on January 2nd, 2017, I went to a meeting with a friend, a lady friend of mine, and she's like, she used to be in OA. She goes, Tony, I found the answer. You got to come to this program. It's three-way to measure meals, nothing in between, clear-cut directions. It's so simple. Your dad's little, you'll be little. I said, man, I'm freaking 400 pounds. I'll never be little, and P.S. I gave away 220 pounds, but I did gain 20, but that's okay because, it is what it is. And I actually gained more than that, but I lost, and I went on a trip of a lifetime at the end of September, October. And prior to that trip, I was like contemplating my demise. I was like, you know what? I'm Italian, I'm Irish. I'm going to eat everything that Italy has to offer. And when I come back, I'll start over. Well, I went to Italy for 2 weeks, took 2,500 pictures in 2 weeks. Is that absurd? It's awesome. It was the most beautiful place I've ever been in my entire life. And I brought my scale, I brought batteries, I brought backup to every meal. I didn't want for anything, I didn't need anything. I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks going to Italy. When in the past, I probably would have gained 50 pounds from all the rich foods they had there. But my friend ate enough for both of us. So, it was fun. And and I went there abstinent and I came home abstinent. And anybody that'll listen, I will tell about, my story. My friend, my sponsor got me these cards. So I have, of course, I'm a good addict. I got 1,000 made. It's on the front. It says, "Can't stop eating. Perhaps we can help. GreySheeters Anonymous may be for you." It's got a little card there. And on the back, it says, "Hi, my name is Tony ABC, and I'm a compulsive eater, but I am abstinent today in that I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the Gray Sheet. I've been on the program for, well, this says 6.5 years and have 200 pounds of physical recovery. If you want to know more about my experience at Gray Sheet, please call 516-790-2137 anytime." And I really mean that, anytime, and I gave these cards out in Italy. I give them out at AA meetings. I have physical anonymity today. If I don't want to talk to somebody that knows me, I don't have to talk to them because they don't recognize me, and it's unbelievable, So, I celebrated. I'm coming up February 11th. I'll have 7 years. I know a lot of people in AA and a lot of people in OA and a lot of people in Gray Sheet that I'll be right back, and you never see them again. They die, they eat themselves to death. Somebody told me a long time ago, "You ever see any really old fat people?" I said, "I don't know, I never looked." He goes, "No, well, you don't because they die. Their heart can't keep up with all that weight, and I have a plethora of doctors today. I was in the hospital for Thanksgiving because I had chest pains. I have residual clots in my lungs. As long as they don't move, I'll be fine. And turns out I got gallstones. Like, "Oh, we can take your gallbladder out." I said, "No, thanks. I'm good. That doesn't really bother me. So I'm not gonna, if and when I need to get something removed and it's medically necessary, I'll do that. But just for that one reason, I'm not gonna do that. And I do a lot of service. I do a lot of food prep. It's it's unbelievable. I make like 2 weeks worth of breakfast, 10 lunches, and I don't have to think about what I'm going to eat for breakfast and lunch for like 2 weeks. It's awesome. When I'm home, like today, I make my food. I got to go out in a little while. It's funny. I was like, let me just come on a meeting and see who's here. And I was like, I didn't really plan on being here for the whole hour, but now that you made me speak, and now that you asked me to do service, I am more than happy to stay here for the whole meeting. Um, Anytime anybody reaches out for help, I want to handle whatever program I represent to be there. And for that, I am responsible. Never look down on a person unless you're helping them up. I help a lot of people because people help me. And I remember when I was in the hospital, they were like, "Tony, you got to ask people for help today. You can't drive for a month. You got to ask for rides." I'm like, "Oh, it's nothing I hate worse than asking for help. I love to help people, but I hate asking for help." You know, um, I started a meeting on Sundays, the Way of Life, WEIGH, because we used to have a face-to-face meeting, but only like 2 or 3 people would show up. And then we had people from all over the country, well, all over the world come to the meeting. And I was like, I'm not going to like try to get a meeting with people in the neighborhood. I want people to come from all over to be able to come. That's the only good thing that came out of COVID. I had COVID a bunch of times. I had RSV, but I survived. I recovered, and I'm pretty healthy today. I went to the gym Sunday. I ran a mile. I did a little workout. and I feel good. I haven't really exercised since August, so September, October, November, December, January. New year, new me, right? I text a bunch of people today about an anniversary. Somebody celebrated 7 years tonight. And then I text a bunch of my sponsees. I said, New Year, new you. Did you make your gray sheet calls? Did you make your getting on gray sheet meetings daily? And, you know, my sponsor never told me what to do or how to do it. He just was there to guide me. But I'm a firm believer that if you get to a meeting every day and you call three foodies a day, it's a good chance that you'll stay abstinent that day. If you rest on your laurels and you don't call anybody and don't go to meetings and don't show up and don't do service, why bother coming? And I say all the time, if you're new, you're just coming back, please say hello. Please let us get to know you. Because if you hide out in the meetings, especially on phone bridges, a lot of people hide out on a phone bridge and never say anything. They just listen. I'm like, nobody get to know you. And then if you leave, nobody's gonna miss you because we don't know you. But me, got a big mouth. I got you, brother. I got a big mouth, so I like to be seen. I like to be heard. I like to do service. I book for Sunday nights, way of life, and I book for Tuesday nights, no matter what. And anytime. Oh, and I lead a meeting on Saturday morning, which I forgot. Somebody texted me this past Saturday. She's like, Tony, where are you? You're supposed to be leading the meeting. I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. And I actually forgot. I'm human. I speak a lot, and people, and I put it in my phone, and people will call me like the day before, and then I'll sleep through it, or I'll totally forget, and that night I'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot I had to speak, and whatever. Just give me another time. I suffer from CRS, can't remember, what, and it is what it is, and I don't know. I can never pay back Ray Sheet what is so freely given. You know, it's I had a spiritual experience with less than 2 years abstinent in Gray Sheet. It took me 19 years in AA to have a spiritual experience because I just went to meetings. I just didn't do the work. But if I would have waited 19 years of Gray Sheet, I would be eating or dead. So I had to get into the work. Coming to a 12-step program and not doing the 12 steps was like going to the gym and sitting in the car for an hour. Did you get anything out of it? No, you didn't get out of the car. But if you come to AA or Gray Sheet or whatever 12-step program you're in and work the steps and have a spiritual experience, and hear that pop out of your head coming out of your butt, you're like, oh, all right, I get it. And yeah, so that being said, I hope I made sense. You know, I, for one, maybe two or three times since I've been abstinent, I had the short serenity prayer. I'm going out, and I called somebody, and they talked me off the ledge. You know, I avoided this New Year's Eve. There was a big party around my neighborhood, and I didn't go because there was going to be food and a lot of people. And the more sober I get, the older I get, the less I want to be around a lot of people. Which I'm really a people person. I love meeting new people, but I just wasn't into it. And people are like, oh, I thought you were coming. Where were you? And my friend was away last Tuesday, and he couldn't share the meeting. So the 8 o'clock meeting tonight. So I said, first I was resentful. I was like, I got plans, get somebody else to do it. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to go out, so I'll do it. So then I did it. And there was a lady on there who was taking this drug, this mystery drug. I don't know what it's called, Ozempic or whatever. And she was in the hospital because she was throwing up. And she got on a meeting. It was her first meeting. I was like, wow. So I'm no messiah. I'm no nothing. I'm just another bozo on the bus. But I was there to have a meeting, and she was able to log on, and there's another abstinent connection. So there are no coincidences. Coincidences are God's way of staying anonymous. You don't have to believe in God to be abstinent, but you got to believe that you're not Him. And you have to believe in something, you know, higher than oneself. I believe in God. God saved my life on more than one occasion. I heard somebody share the other day that they had like a second life coming to AA. And I said, oh my God, I lived three lives, my active life, my sober life, and now my food life. And my friend's mom needs to do this program, and I just gave her my number. I said, you come over anytime, watch me food prep, come on the Zoom meeting. My friend's like, my mom's 80. I said, there's plenty of 80-year-olds here. There's black, white, green, yellow, boy, girl, old, young, fat, skinny. The best thing about when I came to my first Gray Sheet meeting, everybody was a normal size. When I go to OA, I was on the sponsor line at 360 pounds. Hey, you want what I got? Do what I do. I wouldn't want anything I had. But in Gray Sheet, it's unbelievable, and it's like the magic elixir. It's just if you put your food on the scale, the little scale takes care of the big scale, and it's you can't not lose weight if you're abstinent. It doesn't even make sense. If you're in Gray Sheet, you're not losing weight, you're doing something wrong. So that being said, nobody told you I love you today. I love you, and never look down on a person unless you're helping them up. And if you're new, welcome. If you're old, thanks for doing this, and thanks for being here. I got 17 seconds, but that's all I got. Thanks.